It's almost 8 o'clock, and I said I was going to stream, so I'm going to start the stream. Good morning, anybody that's listening. I woke up about 30 minutes ago. Lewted hose with another terrible stream. I just love listening to myself in the past broadcasts because I sound nothing like that in real life. It's almost 8 o'clock, and I said I was going to stream, so I'm going to start the stream. Good. Should just keep that up there. Today I said I was going to do the Nomads by special request. And I think the last faction I have to do is the boy and the Nervi, because I went over all of them already. It's just that I should have went over the boy and the Nervi because the boy are a free faction and the Nervi are part of the Caesar and Gaul campaign. In fact, I think they're also free. I think you don't need to have the campaign to play them. I didn't go over those two. I went over, I believe, Scythia. If I didn't go over them, I'll just go over them again. I'll just go over them. And that's about it for factions. As well as Tylus. I didn't go over Tylus. Yeah, so I have 4 factions to do tomorrow. Or I can do them today later on. So anyway, the Nomads are the least played faction in multiplayer. I don't know about campaign, but I assume it's the same thing. Because the Nomads were a free LC for 2 weeks, and then they became a DLC for $8. I think they're on sale right now. My favorite out of all 3 of them is the Royal Scythians because they have good skirmisher cav as well as above average melee cav. Like, I don't think on average they can go toe to toe with the Roxolani cav, or they definitely don't have the same shock value as the Massagetae cav. But they have good skirmishers overall, and they have good melee cav as well. They also have a shock cav, but these guys are more effective in the campaign than in multiplayer. So let's start with Royal Scythia. Royal Scythia is all of these factions have a strength about them. Like, one thing their faction's good at, and one I don't think there's something that their faction lacks. Like I said, the Massagetae, obviously, but you'll find out why. Royal Scythia's key unit, it's usually this unit. However, people don't tend to bring them, or it'll be this unit or this unit. And I'll explain in a minute why. For the Roxolani, their key unit is, yes, it's the Samaritan Horsemen as well as the Samaritan Riders, which, as I said, their faction relies mostly on melee cav, and you probably were wondering why they only have 2 units of melee cav as compared to 4 units of shock cav, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Massagetae has no melee cav, however they have 5 shock units and 6 missile cav units, and I keep on messing this up. I keep on forgetting that there are 3 super heavy cav units. These guys are also super heavy, as well as the Parthian and Armenian noble horse archers. And it's because I keep on getting them mixed up with these guys. which are not a super heavy, but rather heavy missile cav unit. This is super heavy, and I'll go into this faction's strengths in a little bit. As you can see, they only have four unit groups. Royal Scythia has the Royal Horse Archers, which are a good unit overall, especially when they go up against non-spear units. Non-spear cav, non-spear, just basically non-spear infantry. They have 40 missile damage, 125 range, 7 shots per minute, 15 ammunition, 60 attack, which is good. It's not like Companion Cav or Aspis Companion Cav, but it's good. 34 weapon damage, 19 charge, 22 defense, 60 armor, 95 health, 70 morale. They also have precision shot. Scythian Royal Horse Archers are slightly weaker in melee but have more damaging missiles. They have 41 missile damage, 80 range, 8 shots per minute, which is good. 7 ammunition, 52 attack, 34 weapon damage, 31 charge, 44 melee defense, which makes them quite better when it comes to defending themselves in combat. 60 armor, 100 health, 70 morale. Then the Scythian Royal Horse. 49 melee attack, 29 weapon damage, 15 bonus versus large, 43 charge, 38 melee defense, 95 armor, 105 health, 70 morale. Now, I did mention this before, but I did not go into detail. There's one ability that the Nomads have that no other faction has right now. Before Emperor Edition, the Romans had this, and I think it was just the Romans, as well as the Nomads. However, it's called Draco, and it just reduces the bonus versus cavalry, bonus versus elephants, and bracing. It's useful to use this when you're charging into a unit, because what happens is, I mean, this is best used against spear units rather than melee cav, because it weakens them significantly. And when it comes to a unit that is like a low tier spear unit, like let's just say Iberian spearmen, they have 14 melee attack, I believe, but 30 bonus versus large, which would give them 44 melee attack versus cavalry. However, nevertheless, they don't brace well. You use Draco on those guys, and they only have, and it reduces their bonus versus cavalry by 20, so they only have 24 melee attack when they're facing cavalry units. It's a lot. It is a big deal. It's not a big deal when you're going up against sword infantry, so I highly recommend that you don't use it against sword infantry. Use it against spear infantry, or melee cav, or even shock cav. Just make sure you use it early on, because in some cases, if you're losing an engagement, you'll always be losing no matter when you use Draco. Or if you're losing and you use it, the effect might not be as big. Move over to shock cav, step armored lancers. I think the Cimmerians have them. However, I'll just go over them again. They have 40 melee attack, 25 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus large, 57 charge, 16 melee defense, 35 armor, 85 health, 50 morale. Step noble lancers are a better version. They have 46 melee attack, 35 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus large, 76 charge, 21 melee defense, 40 armor, 95 health, 60 morale. Melee cav, they only have one unit of melee cav, and I've already gone over this unit. So now you go over to the key units in the faction. All of their skirmishers are good, but I mean some of the skirmisher units that, well, let me see. Yeah, some of the skirmisher units that they have are also in the other Nomads. So I've already gone over step horse archers because I believe the Cimmerians have them as well. Yeah, they do. Step horse skirmishers, I've gone over. Step Scythian Amazonian riders. Now I believe that I have not gone over this unit, because if I have, then they would have been a mercenary. However, no other faction has 150 range. Scythian Amazonian Riders, as I said, are one of the key units. They have 40 missile damage and 150 range for a missile cav unit, which no other cav unit will see, like no other faction will have. 6 shots per minute, right? Everything else is bad. 10 armor, 65 health, 40 morale. These guys are best used for kiting, not slingers or 150 ranged archer units, but rather javelins or the flanks of a heavily armed melee unit. Best to use these guys against other cav as well. But make sure that you're monitoring these guys because they have 10 armor. And their health is pretty low as well. Armored horse archers. Oh, and I didn't mention that these guys, I believe, came with the Daughters of Mars. Like, they were released for free, but they came with the Daughters of Mars pack. Armored horse archers I've gone over, but I'll go over again. 40 missile damage, 125 range, 6 shots per minute. Everything else is regular except the 37 melee attack, which is below average. 35 armor, 75 health, 45 morale. The second key unit, Scythian Noblewoman, 40 missile damage, 150 range again. 6 shots per minute. The only real difference is their armor, health, and morale. They have 35 armor, which makes them survive a little bit longer. 70 health, 60 morale. Noble horse archers I've gone over. I've gone over royal horse archers and royal skirmishers. They only have 1 unit of artillery, the Steppe Ballista. I mean, it might seem bad, but it helps out a little, unless these guys get charged. Strengths, missile cav weaknesses, lack of lower tier melee cav. But I mean, you can bring noble lancers and a good like, I think most of your army when you're playing as this faction is going to be missile cav anyway, so you don't have to worry about melee cav. Anyway, royal horse archers and royal skirmishers are pretty good in melee against infantry. I'd use these guys as count anti-cavalry and use these guys to charge in and then use these guys to help out. Because these guys are the only guys for this faction that have Draco. They also have expert charge defense, if I didn't mention that. Now, expert charge defense, as I mentioned in the last stream, is only useful against a charging unit. I mean, it's for spear units, it's best to be stationary. I'm not sure if that's the same thing with melee cav. I'll have to test it out. Moving over to Roxolani, they have noble horse archers as a general and Sarmatian royal lancers. Now, because I've not gone over this unit, I'm going to go over them. They're a very heavy shot cav, as you can tell. 46 melee attack, 27 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus large, 80 charge, which is 4 higher than usual. In fact, I think that's the highest you can get without using trample. So yeah. Just a heads up. They don't have trample, mind you. 21 melee defense, 90 armor, 110 health, 70 morale. They're still useful for charging, but just keep in mind that they don't have trample. However, that probably works out well for them so they don't get tired too quickly. Steppe lancers I've gone over for shot cav. I've gone over armored lancers. Steppe noble lancers I've gone over. And I've gone over that. Melee cav, which their faction shines on. Sarmatian riders are a low tier but highly effective unit, especially when you want to make them go up against a low tier spear unit. And when I say low tier, let's just say you're going up against a spear wall for this Webby. These guys might lose frontally. However, if you activate Draco and hit them in the back, I'm pretty sure they can rout them. Anyway, they have 39 melee attack, 27 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus large, 33 charge, 51 melee defense, 15 armor, 75 health, 45 morale.